I've got another super quick stir fry for you today, and it's going to be very, very simple. Only these ingredients here: prawns, ginger, and spring onion. I kind of feel like I'm going over the same points again and again, but you really don't need a lot of ingredients to make a great stir-fried dish. This is kind of a take on the Cantonese steamed seafood where ginger and spring onion is used to take some of the fishiness out of steamed fish, for example. But we're going to do this very, very simply. Prawns, ginger, spring onions. The only seasonings we're using are salt and a bit of Shaoxing wine. So let's get started. I'm going to shred my spring onions first. Take off the roots, take off any kind of dry looking parts of the greens here. I'll just split these in half a little. And I want to finely shred all of these spring onions. That means using your knife or cleaver, getting kind of right up, almost parallel, so not cutting across, but kind of lengthwise, and really very, very finely shredding these spring onions. A few nice slices of ginger. Now we could julienne these, but I think it's gonna be fine just to keep them as they are so we can eat around them when we get to the stir frying process. Just a little bit of a bash on the side just to release some of the flavor. Now for our prawns. If you've seen me do a prawn recipe before, you know I always buy whole prawns. They're so much better quality than frozen prawns, and you get to use the head and the shells to make prawn oil, prawn stock, whatever you might like to do with it. That's why I've got this pot here, because I'm gonna use these to make a prawn oil. But absolutely don't feel that you have to. To peel the prawns, you take off the head, take off these shells and legs, and we'll split down the back of it to take out the intestine. The shells and heads and everything can go into the pot. The intestine doesn't taste very nice, so that goes in the rubbish. Prawns peeled, shells ready to go. I'm just gonna throw maybe half a cup of oil into that, maybe a full cup, there's quite a lot of prawn shells there, and just put that on the heat. Turn it up, and that'll give me a prawn oil in about 15 minutes as those prawn heads start to fry in the oil. If you want to skip that step, or you don't want to do that at all, you want to make prawn stock, put water in there instead, you want to throw the prawn shells away, don't know why you would. But if you do want to do that, you can. If you don't want to do it, you don't have to. This is actually where the simplicity is for this stir fry. You've got prawns, spring onions, and ginger, and that's about it. I'll clean this down, we'll get over to the wok. So as always, get the wok really hot before you start to add the oil. If you have made your prawn oil, we can use that. If you haven't, just regular old vegetable peanut oil, neutrally flavored oil is totally fine. Oil around the edge. And first in with our prawns. I'll toss those till they're just barely cooked through. Season with some salt. And now we take the prawns out. I take the prawns out here because I don't want them to overcook while I'm cooking the rest of the onions. And also while the prawns are in there, the wok's not gonna get hot enough to give us a nice char on the onions and the ginger. So by taking the prawns out, it gives us better wok hay, or the breath of the wok on the onions themselves. So the wok comes back up to heat. Touch more oil in if I need it. Then in with the ginger first, and then the onions. The onions don't take long to cook at all, so we're working quite fast here. Salt, touch of Shaoxing wine. If you wanted to build on the umami, you could add some fish sauce, some oyster sauce if you wanted to, but I like this just kind of as it is. There's plenty of savouriness, umaminess there from the prawns and the prawn oil, so I don't need anything more. Now the prawns back in. A touch of corn flour slurry. This is just corn flour mixed with a bit of water to bring it together. And straight out onto a plate. Prawn stir fried with ginger and spring onion.